Welcome to Wisdom for the Wilderness, a weekly podcast by the pastors of Overland Church, where we talk about the Bible, theology, and practical applications for daily life. And today, we're going to do a little review of 2025, and we're going to give you 6 things for 2026.
Yeah.
And so what we've done is just kind of scroll back through podcasts from the last year and really thought through what are some things that we would like to remind our people about, but not do a full podcast episode on?
Yes.
And so each of these will be linked in the show notes. But these are, I think, all significant things, really good pieces of wisdom that are really good tools for us to live everyday life.
Yeah.
And so, man, this episode actually wasn't in 2025. It was actually in 2024. And it's
Yes.
the episode on kids and smartphones.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's never going away. So it's always something perpetual. New kids growing up, having those questions, going to school. Frankie has a phone. Why can't I have a phone? So I don't
Right.
know if any of our kids actually go to school with somebody named Frankie, but
Yeah, I don't know. One of my sons had an imaginary friend growing up named Frankie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sometimes Frankie came to visit him. It was kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, this is a really important topic.
Yeah.
All the research is very, very clear.
Mm,
Giving your kid a smartphone is really bad for their health.
yes.
Not just a little bad.
Really
Really
bad.
bad.
Really bad for their physical health, their mental health, like all across the board. It's bad for your kids. I saw a TED Talk where it broke down for someone who's 18 years old. If they lived to be, I think it was 80 years old, there was a dot for every month of their life, and they blacked out like the ones you'd use for sleeping and the ones you'd use for eating and all the basic things you have to do in life. And basically, you had about 1/3 of that chunk left of your life that's free time that you could fill up however you wanted to. And then the speaker said, our teenagers today, if they are on pace to continue their usage of smartphones into adulthood, he blacked out pretty much 90% of that free time for your entire life would be used up for smartphone usage.
What a waste.
Yeah.
What a waste of a life.
Yeah.
And man, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to be me.
Right.
I don't want that to be me. And I'm afraid for a lot of years it has been me. For us, this has been a reality because our oldest son turned 16 this past summer, in the summer of 2025, and August 31st, I guess. And he got a job at Chick-fil-A, and you have to have a smartphone if you work at Chick-fil-A. It's how you
Yeah.
check your schedule. It's how you do those things. And so just before he turned 16, we broke down and got him a phone right at 16 years old. He starts driving, of course. We feel like he needed a phone. But, man, the rules we put in place for that phone were still really important.
Yeah.
And so, man, we're going to control what apps he can download. We're going to control his screen time. We're going to put every safety precaution on it that we can. And when he comes in our house, that phone goes on the counter. That phone doesn't go to the bathroom. That phone doesn't go to his room. That phone is in the counter. It is a tool.
Yes.
And that's all that it is. And so just a reminder, really important topic. If you're in that stage where you've got kids, preteens, teens, and you're wrestling through smartphones, go back and listen to that episode.
And if your kids are not driving and they don't have a job, then there's really no reason for them to have a phone. And if they're at basketball practice and basketball practice lets out early, there's a million people around, their coach,
including a coach.
Yeah, who have a phone. And if they know your phone number, they can get in touch with you. So, a lot of the excuses parents use are not legitimate excuses.
For instances like that, we also we have what we call the house phone.
Yeah.
And it's because we don't have an actual house phone. If Jennifer and I are on a date and we need to communicate back to the house, but again, it stays on the counter on a charger. That's where it belongs. and it's not just free use of a phone. And
Yes.
so you can do that without giving a child access to the world. And by the way, even with our 16-year-old, social media is still a no go.
Yeah.
Um, which when we talk about phones, social media is a big part of it.
Yes.
So no Snapchat, no TikTok, no Facebook, no Instagram, no X, Twitter, MySpace,
Yeah.
name it. You're not getting it.
Right.
All right.
All right.
Number two, um, theological triage.
Yeah.
Josh, real quick, just explain when we say theological triage, what it is and why it's important.
It means that every theological issue, especially controversies that might cause some sort of division among us as Christians, we ought to first approach them by figuring out how serious of an issue it is. And so you have things that are level one, that are the most important issues that separate Christians from non Christians. I mean, this is the gospel, this is the Trinity, this is the authority of Scripture. And then there are issues that are second level, middle level, that would mean that we can be brothers and sisters. We can have a very close relationship with someone if we disagree on the issue, but we're probably not going to be able to fellowship in the same church. And so, baptism of believers versus baptism of infants, that your church has to have a theological position on that and actually do something. And if you believe in paedo baptism, the baptism of infants, you're not going to fit in a
Right.
church that only practices believers' baptism. And so, we love a lot of our Presbyterian brothers and sisters, but we can't necessarily worship in the same church, covenant together in the same church, because it's that level of issue. And then the third level, the bottom level, are issues that we can be in the same church together but still disagree on. And a lot of times this comes down, at least in at Overland, to like end times. We might not agree exactly on the end times, but we can worship together. We can work
Right.
as a
There could
church
be
together.
some particulars in soteriology, the
Yeah,
doctrine of
that's right.
salvation, and like very
That's right.
particular things.
Yes.
Uh,
Limited
atonement,
atonement versus general atonement, those types
something
of
like that.
things. Yeah.
Right. So those three levels,
Yeah.
and man, there are people that don't even agree necessarily on what's a level two and what's a level
Right.
three, and
Yeah.
but generally speaking, like in kind of these big chunks, this is a level one issue, a level two, level three. Um, why is this really helpful for the Christian?
Because a lot of Christians struggle with taking something that's a minor thing, and because they have a strong conviction on this is my biblical position, they struggle to realize, hey, I can still actually have fellowship with other Christians who disagree with me. And so having that ability to kind of categorize the severity of the issue, the importance or urgency of the issue, allows us to get along with one another in a lot better and healthy way. And so, the caricature is, our fundamentalist friends who every issue
Is a
is
major issue.
is a major issue. And if you don't agree with me on every single issue, then you're a heretic, you're not a Christian, a true
Right.
believer. And we don't want to be those type of prickly
Right.
people. We want to have solid convictions, but we also want to be loving and humble and realize, hey, I may have a very solid conviction about this, but I may be wrong.
Yeah.
And my brother may be right.
Yeah. So it keeps us from making theological mountains out of molehills.
Yeah.
Keeps us from majoring on the minors.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's really really helpful. That just should be a tool that helps you categorically think about things as you're encountering them, as you're processing, as you're discerning
Yeah.
life. All right. Number three,
Sports
gambling,
gambling.
sports betting,
Yeah.
gambling.
It's college football playoffs. It's Super Bowl, is coming down the
You know, I think we did that podcast right as I want to say it was in August of 2025, right
yeah,
as the
at the
NFL
beginning of the football season.
season.
Yep.
And man, it's only gotten so much worse.
Yes.
And again, it's not like we're talking about these little nuggets of wisdom, and this is just our opinion, but there's like research after research that's
Yeah.
showing like this is destructive
Yes.
and it's damning. And
Yes.
I think there are like really just simple, this isn't good for you
Mhm.
reasons. This isn't wise reason, but there's also moral
Yes.
reasons behind it as well. And as Christians, something we should be
Yeah.
convicted of.
If you watch a game right now, I want to say 50% of the ads are sports betting ads.
Yeah.
And if they are spending that kind of money, especially on these playoff games where those spots are incredibly expensive,
Oh yeah.
and watch the Super Bowl, those spots are incredibly expensive. If they're spending that kind of money, do you think that it's a good idea for you to take a chance? Like you are losing, and
Yeah.
that's why they have that money to
Right.
spend on these ads.
Yeah.
So don't be stupid. Don't play into like an entire generation of young men are going to start off so far behind financially because of
Right.
this.
So some guys are thinking about like instead of investing money in the stock market, which they're calling a risk in gambling, I'm going to do it this way. At least I can control it. And I'm just telling you, that's just a great recipe to be poor one day.
Yeah.
And even if you do win, you're taking someone else's money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
uh,
And to follow up that comparison, when you're investing in a company, you're not taking something from someone else. You're creating value in the economy.
economy, right? And giving somebody else, an entrepreneur or some sort of
Yes.
business, a chance to take money and to do good and make money. So it's not the same thing.
No.
Don't do that. All right. Number 4, immigration. We
Immigration.
talked about immigration and man, that one's only fired up more,
Yeah.
continues to happen. It's something that we continue to process and think through.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I would say the stuff that we said in that episode about how we think about our neighbor and love our neighbor, man, we've that's just got to be a continued piece of how we
Mhm.
think.
Mhm.
Um, we first as Christians need to see others as our neighbor
Yeah.
and through those eyes, and how we as individuals versus the government sees immigration are two very different things. That was a
Mhm.
distinction we kind of
Yeah.
made.
Yeah, yeah. The government has the duty to enforce the law, and so we should expect safe borders. We should expect people who are here illegally to be deported. I mean that's the law, and it should be enforced. But it's not up to us as individuals or as churches to enforce the law. It's up to us to love our neighbors who are here.
Right.
And so we want to do that. But I think one thing that we see that we addressed in that issue that keeps coming up is some people on the right who have such a anti-immigration position that now they're shutting the door to people who really ought to be given an opportunity to
Come.
come legally.
Right.
And we ought to continue
Right.
to fight for especially our Christian brothers and sisters around the world who are being persecuted to have the opportunity to come to somewhere that's safe.
Right. Right. We've got a family in our church who comes out of a Middle Eastern country,
Yeah.
and they're there every Sunday and learning and growing, and they fled to escape persecution, and so we should be for
Mm.
legal immigration. I would just remind you that you know on in the political world, everything is just left and right,
Yeah.
and how the left will write, the left will kinda give this anything that is happening from the right is wrong, and the right goes, anything that's happening from the left is wrong, and it's a war, and it's political theater,
Yes.
and they're using you, and so I'm just, again, don't get caught up in it. It's something that we see, it's happening, by the time this podcast comes out, no telling what has happened in Minnesota because of an ICE agent shooting someone that was you know trying to leave the scene, running over them, trying to run over them. Who knows what will happen?
Yeah.
At this point, like, could riots break out? I just know this, that the left and the right will use it
Yes.
against each other.
Yeah.
And so don't be a pawn in their game and think biblically
Yeah.
about immigration.
Amen.
All right. Um, Number 5,
Short-term missions.
short-term missions.
Yeah.
We got a lot of opportunity.
Yes.
Last year, as a church, we took 2 short-term mission trips, if I'm correct,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So we took a college group to Malawi,
Mhm.
and we took a trip to South Dakota.
Right. Yeah.
And um, those were both. Well, I went on both trips.
Mhm.
You didn't go on either one.
I didn't go on either one, and
I went
I'm
on
the
both.
pastor
Of
of
missions,
missions, and I
right?
just stay home and let you guys do it.
I went
So,
on both,
yeah.
and man, I was incredibly blessed by both.
Yeah.
If I look back and I think about my highlights from
Mm.
2025, some of my favorite memories of 2025 came with my whole family
Yeah.
in South Dakota
Mm.
at Camp Chunkawaste. It was just an awesome,
Mm.
awesome trip. So glad I did it. It was also really incredible trip to take that college group to Malawi, and my oldest son, went with us on that trip. Fantastic um, use of time for the kingdom and the glory of God.
Yeah.
And so, just real quick, Josh, remind us why short term missions matter.
Yeah, they are incredible ways for us to partner with the people who are there all the time and are investing in the kingdom in these places all the time, but need a little extra help. And so, those are the types of partnerships that we want to develop, partnerships that hopefully develop into long term partnerships. And so, the South Dakota one is developing into a long term one. We're sending 2 teams to South Dakota this year. One for construction, one to do the camp again. And so we want to invest in the team of North American Mission Board missionaries that are there all the time, and yet they need some extra hands, they need some extra bodies, they need some extra wood for the
Right.
construction
Right.
and those types of things. And so that's the framework we ought to have. It's not about us having an experience, although you will. It's ultimately about us investing in the kingdom and encouraging the people who are there already
Yeah.
and long term. So, that we don't want to just things to do things, and we don't want to just go to places to go to places. We want to invest in the kingdom, and so we're doing that in at least, I'm going to say this way, at least 5 trips this year,
Right.
because there's still the possibility that there might be 1 or 2 added
Added.
in the fall.
Right.
So we have a
So
college trip.
so first 2 to 5,
Yes,
just
2
right
to
off the
5.
bat. So I
Yep.
love it. I love the
Yep.
multiplication effect.
Yeah, so we
So
have a college group going over spring break, small group initially, that is hoping to, it's kind of a vision trip for a future partnership to Bogota, Colombia.
Columbia. And this is
Um,
most people first time hearing about this probably.
well, we'll have
'Cause it
had
had
family
family meeting.
meeting,
So
so
you'll
we'll
have
talk
heard.
about that in family meeting
Right.
on Sunday. But so
A
if
lot
you
of
weren't,
folks.
yep. So
Uh,
Bogota, Colombia, the 2 to South Dakota,
which one is in May, a
one is, mhm,
construction trip in May,
and
and
then June.
then June, which is the
The
camp.
Yes. And then a trip to a serve tour in France, and I skipped April serve tour to Salt Lake City.
Right.
So both of those are we had a serve tour here, and so people who've participated in the serve tour at Fort Collins are understand kind of the
Right.
model that.
So the surf tour in Salt Lake City, real low barrier to entry.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking the money it takes to get there, stay in a hotel, buy food, um, serve tour, send.
France.
No, I'm trying to send relief. Oh
Yes.
man, send relief will pay. You know, they're the ones paying the price of doing these
Yeah.
projects and stuff. So you're literally just getting there.
Yes.
So that is, it would really be like if you've never done a mission trip and you're like, hey, I want to see what this is like. That would be a really good one to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like third week of April, and
Yes.
it's
Yes.
basically Friday, Saturday.
Friday and Saturday. This one's unique because of Mormonism. So on Thursday, one of the churches is going to host a kind of lesson on the basics of Mormonism. So if you want to head out early and attend that, that would be great. If you can't get there on Friday and you just want to participate on Saturday, that's also a possibility. So it's a really flexible option
Yeah.
for families and anybody, college students who want to jump in a car, drive down Interstate 80, and end up in Salt Lake City. So,
Yeah. Really, really good. And then you mentioned Serve Tour France.
yeah, Serve to France is specifically construction projects. The team will land in Paris, spend some time in Paris doing training and maybe a project or two there, and then we'll be assigned to some outer French cities and take the train out there and do some construction projects that help churches, help NGOs, camps, different projects they have set up there. So I think that one is the one that we most need people to participate in. The other teams seem to be filling out well, but we still need some people to sign up for the France
France
trip.
trip. Okay. All right. Well, I would just say if you don't have short-term mission trip on the calendar for this year to be a part of missions and to make it a use of your time this year, there's still
Yeah,
opportunity. So we'd love to have you
absolutely.
go. All right, sixth thing. We're to six already.
6 and 26.
All right, thankfulness.
Yeah,
Actually, that's a podcast that we did in 2024. One of
yeah.
our first podcasts to go back and to talk about thankfulness. But
You should be.
you should you should be thankful. And again, we presented some research
Mm,
in that podcast that shows that, man, the mental benefits of when you're thankful and you're counting your blessings, you're naming them one by one.
yeah,
It changes your whole demeanor
yeah.
and your outlook on life, and it's truly a beautiful thing to be thankful.
Mm.
And Josh, what would you say as you think about the Bible? Why should we be thankful?
This is a interesting, angle that wouldn't have been in that show because it comes from a book that I just finished reading, B.B. Warfield's The Emotional Life of Our Lord. I think it's over here somewhere now. But anyways, it's an older book, B.B. Warfield's early 1900s. And one of the points he makes in that book that really hit me was we talk about Jesus as a man of sorrows, and he was, particularly in conjunction with his sufferings on the cross.
Right.
But Warfield shows several places in the gospel that lead us to think that he was also a man of joy. That in Jesus as the new Adam, as the Son of God, as the example to us, he was a man of overwhelming joy in everything he did because he walked with the Lord. And I think that, to connect that with thankfulness, I think that goes back to living a life of thankfulness, living a life of trust in the Lord for everything he's given to us ought to make Christians the most joyful people that you meet. And so just give you that little nugget for
That's
2026.
awesome. That's a good
Yeah.
word, man. We should be a thankful people because
Yeah.
we're a saved people. We have so much to be thankful for and to count our blessings and as we're in Christ. And man, what a blessing! So as we end this podcast, what would be your piece of wisdom
We
for this
just gave
podcast?
six
Of them.
pieces of wisdom. Listen to Wisdom for the Wilderness
There you go.
because we're going to have more wisdom coming at you in season 2
Yeah.
here in
Yeah.
2026.
I would say we just reviewed. We just went
Yeah.
back and looked. That's one thing that we often miss in life
Mm,
is looking backwards
right.
and going back and going, "Hey, I need that reminder. I
Yeah.
need that reminder in order to really look forward." And
Yeah.
so, man, go back, look over the things that have been helpful to you
Yeah.
in the past, and it'll help you. It'll help you make a straight path forward.
Mm.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for Wisdom for the Wilderness today. And man, like always, if you have any questions, we'd love to answer those questions. You can just email us at wisdom@overlandchurch.org. We would love to help you in any way that we can walk through life in a wise manner. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you right here next week.